Veterans, marriage, and changes to Oklahoma's system for treating injured workers were among the topics of debate this week at the state capitol. Lawmakers also remembered the legacy of Oklahoma's 45th Infantry Division and began a new tradition of honoring military members killed in combat.
Soldiers and veterans were on the minds of lawmakers as the legislative week began. Members of the House and Senate met in joint session Tuesday to pay tribute to the Oklahoma National Guard's 45th Infantry Division. The legislature presented the state's first Gold Star medals to the widows of 2 Oklahoma soldiers killed in Afghanistan. The Gold Star medals were created to honor military members killed in combat. Megan Avey and Jane Horton accepted the awards on behalf of their husbands, Army 2nd Lieutenant Jared Avey and Army Specialist Christopher Horton. Adjutant General Miles Deering asked those in attendance to remember the sacrifices made by the men and women of the National Guard.
Since September 11, 2001, 19 Oklahoma National Guardsmen have laid down their lives for our country, and many more have been injured in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those that lost their lives to protect the freedoms we cherish, such as those we honor today, and sometimes even take for granted, will never be forgotten.
Lawmakers also dealt with legislation designed to help veterans who face challenges at home. Spurred by stories of abuse at Oklahoma's 7 veterans centers, the House passed a bill sponsored by State Representative Tommy Hardin calling for the State Health Department to conduct random monthly inspections of the centers.
They say there's monthly or yearly inspections right now, but they're supposed to be random, but they're not. People know in advance when they're coming. And we need to do as a state, stand up for our veterans and make sure that the ones in these centers are taken care of.
Lawmakers approved the measure, but struck the bill's title, delaying further action. Representative Mike Reynolds argued striking the title means the bill will probably die.
Your veterans will get to decide if you support them or not. There can be no higher priority. I don't see any reason why any individual that negotiates a budget would not want the veterans taken care of.
The bill now heads back to conference committee, where lawmakers will decide how much money to spend on inspections. House and Senate committees heard dozens of bills during the week, racing to clear them before Thursday's deadline for advancing bills out of committee. The House Judiciary Committee took up a measure to overhaul the state's workers' compensation system. The plan, worked out by Republican committee members, would switch workers' comp from a court to an administrative system, while allowing companies to opt out if they offer an alternative plan. Representative Leslie Osborne said the measure would make the state more business-friendly while still protecting workers.
This is a bill that will do 3 things. It will encourage mediation. It will encourage rehab. It will encourage quick results for injured workers. And this bill and this system change will be the best thing to happen to Oklahoma in years.
House Minority Leader Scott Inman argued any savings in the new plan would come from cutting workers' benefits.
The savings aren't realized in switching from one system to another because everybody understands the administrative system is nothing but a Trojan horse to do one thing, and that is to reduce benefits for people who have been injured on the job at no cost and no fault of their own.
Representative Emily Virgin questioned why the legislation did not address rising medical costs.
Medical costs are one of the biggest problems when it comes to comp and the high cost that our employers pay on their premiums. And 2 years ago, we had the best thing since sliced bread in workers' comp reform that addressed medical costs. But this version doesn't lower medical costs, in my opinion.
The committee approved the measure along party lines. The Judiciary Committee also advanced 2 proposals designed to make divorce more difficult. A bill creating a covenant marriage option would require couples to receive counseling before getting married, and more counseling if they cite incompatibility as grounds for divorce. Representative Corey Williams questioned the effectiveness of that proposal, pointing to Arkansas, one of 3 states which offers the option of covenant marriage.
The divorce rates among those getting covenant marriage is down substantially.
Correct.
But the overall divorce rate in that state hasn't gone down any.
House author Tom Newell insisted that's not the point.
while it's not bringing down the overall divorce rates, for every marriage that is saved without children, that's 2 lives that's positively impacted. For marriages with children, we're positively impacting those children. So while it's not bringing down the overall rates, I think we are still helping to support marriage and family and individuals in our state.
Another bill offered by Representative Jason Nelson would require couples to receive counseling on how divorce affects children.
This is saying that it's, as a matter of public policy, that the people of the state of Oklahoma think that that's a big deal, that children are affected that way, and that parents, when they're considering divorce, ought to be given information about that.
Both marriage measures passed by 10-6 margins. Despite Democratic objections, they would place additional burdens on couples in a bad marriage, while doing little to bring the state's skyrocketing divorce rate down. The Senate Appropriations Committee also addressed marriage, advancing a bill requiring the state to wear public service announcements promoting marriage as a tool against poverty. The campaign would be paid for by money diverted from the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families program. Senator Tom Ivester questioned whether paying to produce public service announcements was an appropriate use of state funds.
I've got a pet peeve about PSAs and taxpayer money or being spent on PSAs when there's no measure of effectiveness. There's no way to gauge whether these are a good source of money. They're just feel-good measures.
Senator A.J. Griffin maintained similar campaigns have worked well in the past.
If I say don't lay that trash in Oklahoma, does anybody know what I'm talking about? PSAs have been proven to be very effective in social change, and I believe this is a wise investment of our funds, regardless of where they come from.
That bill passed, as did another one by House Speaker T.W. Shannon that requires able-bodied adults to work at least 20 hours per week to receive food stamps. Senator Connie Johnson argued the measure undercuts a vital safety net for low-income Oklahomans.
Do we care about them? Do we have some alternative for these people, or are they supposed to just make it the best way they can?
I think there are any number of government programs that can help them while they look for a job, and I think there are a lot of jobs to be had in a state that has the lowest unemployment in the country.
Senator David Holt's argument carried the day. The measure advanced on a vote of 18-1 and now heads to the full Senate.